I thought the flow, what we started on Sunday, will complete it before I go on a long break for another 10 plus days. So, in the first session, we touched upon areas of the Tatas, particularly on the employee welfare and the research and the healthcare. In fact, we had a lot of conversation about the healthcare, how actually, they contributed to the nation. We also touched upon a little bit of the games like Olympics and also building a dam itself, which normally public sector or governments does it. So today I'm going to focus on something, a contribution of the Tata to the technologies are. They involved, as you know, Tata as an group of companies involved from the salt to computers. So I will take some samples of it, and I talk about the technology, area where they contributed on. I do talk about a little bit of the economy of a nation, how they are touched upon. I know some of you are already done the homework too of knowing Bombay plan. So I'll probably touch a little bit of the Bombay plan because the homework is already done. And if time permits, I will also would like to demystify the myth of why Taj is built. In all public domain, we do have some information why Taj is built. Harish Bhat, who's an author of this book, tells some different story than at least what I knew. And I do have something, a final touch, which touched me a lot in the whole book. Probably I will end, my session with that. Today is also a little bit unique for me, and I know you guys tells me that I'm very confident. I presented pretty well, but I also a little bit tensed for two reasons. One of them, whenever we perform in front of your guru, we always will have a tense moment. And the person who actually taught me the habit of reading books is there with us, Ram. I can see him there. So for the first time I'm talking about he's listening to me, apart from the work related one when he worked long time back. थोड़ा सा tense है. Hopefully I will carry forward. Let me see how thing goes. So today I'm going to talk about Titan, the watch. Like any other watch, it is not. We already had HMT for a long time with us. Titan came a little bit later. I talk about the story of that. I also talk about one more variants of the Titan, or we call the flagship product of that, which is called the Titan Edge or a Tata Edge. What is the uniqueness of that? And also talk about something called the ICA, okay, which many of us doesn't know it. And also, of course, all of us know about the Tata Indica. Followed with, of course, I will touch about the Bombay plan, which there was the excitement which we added it last time. And if possible, talk about PM Relief Fund. You may be wondering PM Relief Fund, why I'm talking about in the Tata story, which I will provide some linkage towards it. As I mentioned, one of the finale activity, how the Jamshedji started in way back a century ago in late 80s, 1800s, how that legacy carried forward. I do have one example which Harish itself quoted in his personal example. I will probably end with that. Depends upon how the time is. I do have a flexibility, to scale up or scale down because each one of them unique story. I can have a flexibility, take it off. Then depends upon how the time goes. Okay. So with your permission, I will start with Titan. Titan. Yeah. Like last time also, I did this mistake. I did promise about the photos. This is all we saw last time. This is where we are in. Yes. This is the story of a Titan. This is in the 1980s. There was many watches in the world at that time. Of course, HMT was leading in India, and a lot of Swiss-based, companies, which is considered as a pioneer, high profile brands was also there in the market. But all of them were mechanical in nature. All of them were looking for, watches where the mechanical excellence can be demonstrated with their unique precision, which can bring it in the watches in our wrist hands. When that was happening, this is a story of another leader in Tata company who is not one of the Tata's DNAs are. That means the family. I talked about the only family last time. It started with Jamshedji and Durbai and JRD, little bit of the Ratan Tata also talked about. This I'm talking about a person, Sir Xerxes Desai, who was a chairman of Titan at that time. He went to, present an idea. We won't involve in mechanical watches, but we'll make something called a quartz watches. Of course, at that particular time, it's somewhat revolutionary. Now, today, we feel quad is also probably taken off, but it was a revolutionary at that time. And at that time, the analysis what Xerxes Desai did that it is comparatively much more stable, much more precise, and also become a sleek in the designs what we can do. Obviously, Tatas went to the Tata board. They reviewed this proposal. They agreed, even though they didn't know what is the market potential about that. Because there is some uncertainty what is people from the electronics background can appreciate what the quad stability means, but not for the common man, right? So this also done with a joint venture with government of Tamil Nadu. Many of us doesn't know it. Titan is built with a joint venture with the Tatas and the government of Tamil Nadu, with its factory in the outskirts of Bangalore. Technically, I can't call outskirts, which I call it. It is actually in the border of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. It's a place called Hosur. The challenge for this company is that you to find the skilled workers to do the quartz watches, and that itself is a new. And we need to make the people coming it from where we get it. Everyone is expert in the mechanical watches. I'm sharing this story because the company found some unique solution to it, very unlike with many of the corporates does it. It went on to the smaller towns and the villages in Tamil Nadu. I repeat this, smaller towns and the villages in Tamil Nadu, which become a movement at that particular time where people wanted to work in the Tatas and they're working for the first time in the factory environment. That is a big risk. And first of all, we are taking a risk. We will try to do something which we never did. And we are taking the unskilled workers here, and they doesn't know what the factory protocols itself. And we are trying to train them and make this happen. Titan provided extensive training. Over the next few years, these individuals transferred into the skilled watchmakers. I repeat, skilled watchmakers. And these are the resources when other companies followed with the quad watches in India also spread themselves beyond Tatas. Titan quickly became one of the best lifestyle companies in its time in 1980s and 90s. This is the phase one of the Titans, what I'm talking about. Phase two is much more revolution. We thought first one itself is a revolutionary. Now I will talk about something. There was an employee by name Dwarakanath and his colleague Subramanya Bhat. They were having a chai or a coffee, they build out a coffee at chai. So coffee in their canteen. One day they got an idea and they jumped into the office of Zezar Desai, who's an MD of the Titan at that time, with a bold proposition. Now we need a lot of courage to enter the MD office first of all and going to say something to them. And this is how it unfolds. Dwarknath, commonly known as BJD, I will refer to BJD as we go forward. He says, Sir, you want to build a slimmest watch Slimmest watch movement in the world, just 1.5 mm thin, as slim as a credit card. The movement of the clock will be robust. It is mass manufacturable, unlike anything else ever made before in the whole world. A lot of leaders like people coming with these types of passion, and also it will get fizzled out very easily. And they will check how deep your thought process is. Desai, in this case, listened silently to him. He had a long pause. Was there a long pause? He just said two words that changed the history of the watch industry. He just said two words. He said, go ahead. This leader was ready to take that risk. And obviously, employees also get motivated. BJD also now has much more responsibility to make this happen. A passionate team is formed, restless. I know I'm talking to a person about what restless means. We just talked about 30 minutes back. Eager, hungry to push the limits of ourselves, but their biggest obstacles were daunting, which they didn't have a solution. If I slice little bit of this watches, there is two components in the quad watches. One is called a step motor, another is called a battery. And we are trying to make the slimmest watch in the world. The step motor, if you wanted to make it thin, but the torque of that, that means the power of that, torque is a technical word. In a loosely, I can call it a power, need to be high, but with a minimal battery consumption. But if your power you're consuming more, that means energy also need to be consumed more. That's a very natural engineering activity. But here we are trying to do opposites. We want a high torque, but low battery. The team looked across the world. Is there anything? Is there? There was one small company somewhere in the Switzerland. They found out them. They negotiated with them. They worked with them. They solved the problem, and they got the slimmest, high torque, minimal battery consumption step motor. One problem is solved. But importing hair, it will become a cost. All of us know in India, we are highly a cost sensitive market. And later, the same concept is indigenized by the team which is there in the Titan itself. They made much better performance later. Now, one part of the problem is solved. Another one is the battery. How do we solve the battery problem? And this team, with relentless innovation, discovered a 40 watt, very light equivalent battery capable of lasting not for 1 or 2 years, almost around 50 years. Do you believe that? If really challenge engineers, I love to be consider myself as an engineer. If really challenges, we can innovate anything which is considered impossible. Through this edge as a product, I'm taking an example. A stepper motor is done, one of the critical, and the battery is created, which can live for 50 plus years. There is so much of the innovation that, and there is on a cloud nine. Let, let me tell this. This particular one, when Desai approved go ahead, it is not through a thorough market research. It is not the market wanted it. There was no market research was done. It was truly an engineering marvel, which he agreed for. Very unlike with any corporates happens. So obviously, once he done it, so the thought is they will sell this to a switch manufacturer because switch is known for them. So probably they will buy this particular idea. Unfortunately, they rejected it. Not for the engineering, but for the branding reasons. They felt a product coming from in India will be inferior to the quality what switch brands will possess at that time. Unfazed by this Swiss company's reaction, Desai, the chairman, made a bold decision. The decision is Titan would land ship themselves. Thus, Titan Edge was born, not from the market surveys, but truly from conviction of Desai and his BJD. There was one more challenge of a water resistance. They also solved that when they are able to solve the third one also solved. They designed this. It can withstand up to 30 meters of depth. I did mention the thickness what they're targeting for. Do anyone remember that? What they wanted to do? They said credit card equal. What is the credit card thickness? It is mentioned as 1.5 mm. Okay, but the design ended up coming at 3.5 mm, still much lesser than any typical watch. I know all of us as a watch nowadays we have the smart watches. Just look into your watch, assess what is the thickness of that. It is a minimum of 3 to 5 centimeters even today. And they made this product almost in the 90s. It was a proud moment for India. The result was timeless. Titan Edge was not just a watch, was a symbol of Indian ingenuity, a fusion of technology, design, belief, and persistence. It won admiration worldwide, including from the West. But for Indians, it was much more a moment of pride. And then this is story with this sport. When we believe, when we believe, we can make it happen. Hence, this is a story of a Titan and the Titan Edge. I'll pause here and see if there is any questions. The photo, what you see on the screen, in fact, this is, I think, Desai is giving the first watch they manufactured, not the Titan Edge, first watch they manufactured to JRD at that. The first watch given to him. Any
Chida,
comment?
Chida,
Ram?
Chida, can I add a couple of lines?
Sure.
Yeah. First, of course, I want to show the Edge watch here. So, having worked for 14 years for Tatas, I couldn't miss the opportunity of, I mean, I couldn't have the risk of not owning one. So I did, and I don't regret it at all. Number one. And number two, yes, Xerxes, I've had personal interactions with him, one of a kind whose very presence would motivate people to scale heights, unthinkable. So, all the words that you use to describe the whole thing and the drama that you built into presenting that one, go for it, Chida. Terrific. Thank you.
So with a technology, I will come back to a little bit of the economics. I know there is some economics in our audience too. I introduced that last time called something called a Bombay plan. From 1990s, I'm going to 1940s again. Sorry, I'm jumping back in here and there. This is around 1944, okay, where World War II was still on, but it was imminent at that particular time. British will give freedom to India because there was enough signs what was happening. Our freedom movement is also on the peak. World War is also coming to an end and things like that. But we didn't know at 44 end will when it will happen. There was some eight eminent figures in India. Okay, think about 44 is still a British Raj. Okay, it is not an independent India, including J.R.D. Tata, who was the chairman at that particular time, and J.D. Birla, another Birla conglomerate. We know it. Did something which is stirred the whole British Empire at that particular, along with their own war related issues are. These eight people created a comprehensive plan, not for their companies, for India's economic development as a country, what they should do in future, commonly known as a Bombay plan. It's also called as a Tata and Birla plan because they are the two prominent members, which a lot of people knew at that time. It was seen as a bold and massive industrial investment. It was considered as a first ever national economic plan for the country. Even British has ruled us for almost 100, 200, almost 100 plus years. No one has built a common India-wide economic, plan, and they did that. The document or a book doesn't say what inspired them, but they felt to do this. And the surprising event is this: British was shocked. It is not a surprise at all. Their surprised because Indians are moved ahead with their thought process and the thought leadership. We use this word thought leadership in recent days in 2000s plus in in a business leadership word called thought leadership. And at that time, talking about the future of India when the war is happening, and our own Gandhism, that means we are all follow Gandhi principles at that time. Unfortunately, they were also shocked. They're supposed to support this and take it forward. They also shocked and cautioned, kya ho raha hai? Why these guys are doing it. Hamara kaam hai type of it. Of course, leftist, there was a leftist gang also, they also surprised. So if you see that all of them in the environment when this thing has come, there was not easy adoption or encouragement for this plan, unfortunately. Riadi also mentioned somewhere the motivation of this. He said it is inevitable India will get an independence and country economy need to be addressed independently. We can't have any other support. Even though he's a businessman, making sure that economic prosperity of the country should be very important for all of us to flourish. And this was a radical 15 years plan at that time, and addressed all the industries: power, mining, transport, textiles, and the leather, which was prominent at that era. Note, some of these elements, even though it is not publicly addressed or acknowledged by the independent government post independence, considered in our 5 years plan is also called a Panchashil, program, which is implemented in the Nehru government at that time. This is just one testimony of the corporate world. We are not seen anywhere in the world, even till today. We have a lot of eminence. Okay, some of them say our company is much higher than the GDP of some other countries itself. None of them put an effort to see what is a country's plan should look like, through which we can also grow. We are so self-centric, or the corporates, to see what is that I can grow. This is a testimony of the friends, which Tatas and Birlas did it way back in 1944. I know Rumiji shared it. Please listen to that video. That will give a little bit more. It's around 15 minutes of video. I just given some elements of it which was not there in it, saying that how actually is received, even the Gandhian and something like that. So that plan, I didn't have this an edge picture. I wish I synchronized both of them. The plan, I didn't get a picture of that Bombay plan. I thought I will get manuscript or somewhere or something. Finally, I got a Wikipedia window. I'm just sharing the Wikipedia here. What it means. Any thoughts, comments on that?
Yeah, I would like to share something. So the initial plannings were done. We say when we do the economic planning, the first economic plan is by the Visvesvaraya plan. You might know the architect of Mysore, and he coined the first plan, and then came the Nehru plan. And after
Mm,
that,
mm.
in the this was in 1938, the Visvesvaraya plan, and then came the Bombay plan, and it
Taj
was
Mahal.
actually the first plan of the independent India did not consider the Bombay plan, but the second and the third plan, where it was more focused on the industrialization. The first plan was more on the agriculture, but when the second plan came and we wanted to be self-sufficient, we didn't want any import. We wanted import substitution, right? We closed all the doors, and hence then came the Bombay plan. A lot of points were incorporated uh, from the Bombay plan by the government of India. It was after 1957. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that additional nuggets, Palak. Yeah. In fact, I can talk about Vishweshwara itself in another one because I'm reading another is biography. Someone has written what are the things he's done for India. So yeah. So let me move to Taj. Does anyone recognize this photo? Yes. Something seriously missing here. There is two things are missing here. Can you identify that?
I just read it. Gateway of India is not there. God.
Mine has become like an open book now. I don't understand. Um, Obviously, Gateway is not there. Obviously, their second tower is also not there. So, no, the myth or what we know, Taj Mahal Hotel is built because the British at that time rejected entry to Jamshedji Tata to enter one of the hotel, if I'm called Empire Hotel or something like that. I have it in there. I will shortly tell that. Okay. They didn't allow it because it's only for British. He got offended because of that. He said for Indians primarily, he built the Taj Hotel. This is the story I knew. Probably that's commonly known also in the money press. But Harish is an author of this book. He's also a Tata employee. He has an access to the lot of archives of that. He's going to tell the story which is not that much public. He's also making some inferences of that. It is not really actually has every fact about what is for inferences are. Let me go ahead with that. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Jamshedji Tata in 1898, please remember 1898, it's almost around 125 years back, who's the founder of a Tata group, announced he want to build this hotel. It was a surprise move even in his family circles. Okay. And he was a magnet at that time as a textile person. Okay. He had, textile, which I shown, talked about earlier in Nagpur and Mumbai. And he also already announced an integrated steel plant in Jamshedpur. Hydroelectric power project, we also saw that the dam. And we are talking, he's building one more hotel. Where is this possible? This is actually what Harish says is in his book. At that time, there was a lot of, like what happened to Corona, like Corona happened now, there was similar, some epidemic was happening at that time. People were hesitant to come to, India. Obviously, Mumbai was an economical or financial capital from the day one. A lot of commercial activity was happening. We wanted to attract people to come back to India somehow. Being here, he is an industrial magnate. He was looking for a lot of avenues to make this happen. Around this time, he was also exploring in Europe. What are the properties you can build? Okay, he bought some of the things in Swiss, if I'm not wrong, in Netherlands, if I'm not wrong, in Europe, I mean UK also at that. but it was not much known. While he's doing this in the background, he announced this, he is going to build it. What I told, the narrative is the one which most of us knew. But this was actually his passion and his love for his home city, Mumbai. There was a there was a world-class hotel is needed to attract visitors and foster further development. This is not just some of the hotel. Some of them British used to be there. There are a lot of others also, used to visit India. For everyone, we need it. Do you remember, or can you guess what was the cost per night, per room on that time? Just a wild guess. I know. Google कर सकती है. I don't know. Google will provide an information.
No idea, sir.
It
You're
was
talking about 1900. So,
6 rupees per night at that time. Images is 6 rupees. Okay. Just to give a perspective, gold was 1 rupee per 10 grams at that. Because I'm giving the gold reference for you guys in all of this. Okay, it is 6 rupees per night. Still, it is comparatively premium at that time. His vision was to Taj include the first class restaurant, grand suites. Till today, the suits are used for many dignitaries of many countries. Presidents and others will use this one. It is actually a pride moment for many of them to come and stay in the Taj even today. It was the first building in India had something called a Turkish bath and also lit by something electric power at that time because they were only generating the electric. I'll come back to that at the end, Sher Singh, what we just commented. Do you know what is the investment of the Taj at that time? Any guesses? 26 lakhs. This whole Taj building was built at the 26 lakhs of the capital investment by a person who didn't have any knowledge of the hospitality at that time. This is just testimony of the Jamshedji's courage and passion and the love for the country. In fact, I talked about Jamshedji's, employee-friendly policies last time when I talked about it, which has become a default or standard for us, including the PF and other employee care policies, even the government takes it. This is the story of the Taj, which I didn't know much. Any comments?
I think we also didn't know this, and it was a shocking thing. Firstly, the Taj is built way before Gateway of India. It's like it's a monument in itself, I would say. And yes, after that, after the comments, I would like everyone to turn on their cameras for the selfie of the day. We are already halfway in the session, and we didn't realize, as usual. So, anyone else would like to share something?
I think, sir, was it like 16 annas made 1 rupee, something at that time?
Probably
So,
yes. I can check it out.
yes.
I forgot that Ana to rupee conversion. I think
हाँ,
you may be right. 16 or 18, I think.
जी, जी,
4 into 4. I think it's 16 Anas. That you may be right. Yeah. I remember 4 Ana is equal to 25 rupees. Yeah.
जी.
25 paisa. Yeah.
Yeah, 16 annas.
16 Ana. Yeah. Yeah. Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, before
I
that,
have, I
let's take
have,
a selfie. Then we
okay.
can go ahead with the story. Yeah, I would request you to stop sharing the presentation. And I would request everyone to turn on their cameras. A beautiful evening, and I hope you all are listening to Chida sir. Hello, Priya ji, Sanjay ji, Vinu ji, hi. Mahesh ji, Shita, and a warm welcome. All of the members are the family members of the Bibliophile family. So, a warm welcome to the Guru of Chidanand ji. He's sitting right in front of us, Ram Kumar ji. So, we welcome you to the Bibliophile family, sir, all of us, with great happiness.
Thank
And
you.
it's so good to see you here. All right. Let's smile, everyone. Selfie, smile. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
No, this image is very crowded. I won't expect you guys to read it. This is another example of a corporate person think about nation related issue. They don't need whatever we had that pride for freedom in 1947 that came with a dark cloud of a pain and loss too, due to partition. I think in the history of the human, mass migration of 20 million or more people across the border was happening. I don't know, we can continue to celebrate or we need to address the crisis. And honestly, I will tell you, none of the government, neither Pakistan or Indian government is ready for this. But till today, also we see a lot of countries where this type of a migration happens. Still, I'm not sure the massive migration to this quantum happened ever, even till today. We're talking around 20 million, around 2 crore people. So JRD Tata, who was actually who was a chairman at that particular, recognized this need of some sort of an permanent emergency funds, which is easily accessible to handle the crisis which nation can face it. I'm repeat, this is an emergency fund. Nation can face it. That means I need to keep it in the reserve. So he wrote a Prime Minister office in October 47, indicating to him there is a need for doing something like this. 2 months later, think about that's a time where everything happens to physically the through post, right? It takes time. Unlike now, it will delivered within a second. Then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru responded. He said, I reviewed the proposal, what you made, along with my team, that means his ministers, reviewed it, agreed upon creating some special fund. In fact, JRD itself suggested, call that as a Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. Please note, there was no Tata attached with that. There is a lot of Tata's work which is done in this country where their name is not attached. I can go on listing many of them. This is one such thing. In fact, he only suggested it should be, it's called a PM National Relief Fund. This fund can be used for any kind of a distress relief, including the refugee management. This is a temporary measure at that time. I would like to add one more. There is one more company of the Tata. It's called the Tata's Institute of the Social Sciences. One of the few companies at that era was looking at the social cause of the society at that time. They knew if such thing happens, how can we emotionally control the environment is? They are the only one who had the systematic way to handle the relief at that time. The special team went to assist the registration of the refugees, okay, at the PMO's special request. I think this is one of the open recognition of PMO when the PM Nehru was recognizing Tatas. Unfortunately, the history says it later in the 50s and 60s, JRD and Nehru parted their ways because philosophically they become apart. Their values were becoming wider and wider. This is one of the few moments both of them acknowledge each other. In fact, in this book, if you guys read it, there are some stories which talks about how they parted also, which I'm not addressing here. The one what you're looking at on the screen, it is the gadget release of first PM Relief Fund. I think all of you know what is a gadget release means. It's a government official release to go to public. This is the first copy of that. Obviously, put it in the manual typewriter on those days. This is, guys, another testimony of Tata's legacy for national interest. Any
Today,
question?
like we talk about the Prime Minister's relief fund and everything. Like PM Cares Fund is also there during the COVID, and I vividly remember the Tata Trust also helped build a fund for the COVID time. So like I think they have been doing it since ages. Got reminded of the PM Cares Fund only through this PM Relief Fund publication. Yeah.
Since you talked about the PM Care Fund, Palak, I intentionally didn't touch upon who are the members of this PM Relief Fund. Okay, I felt a little bit odd when I saw that because from the beginning, when it is formed, the president of the Congress is part of that. Okay, they are there. They don't need to be, but the president of the Congress is part of that. It's written in this book. As per I know, PM Care is started to eliminate that particular entangled, complex issue of the relief fund. So that's a little bit of the political debate. Is a right or wrong? I can't comment. But I just wanted to mention it is written in the book about that too. I didn't address that because I wanted to take the positiveness of it, what is the startups have contributed. But while implementing, there are a lot of things can come in as a dimensions. Okay, I do have another 20 minutes. Can I jump in further? You guys okay with that? So we'll jump on again to the technology, this time in the automobile industry. I talked about a watch, now it's an automobile. Here, any one of you uses today a Tata's automobile? Any one of you? I'm not surprised because Tata is not known for a personal automobiles. They are known for a commercial products, right? Any commercial products, we have it. We have Tata by default. Tata Ashoka Leyland is the two common ones, but not in the personal space like our cars or something like that. This is in the early 1990s. India has launched spacecrafts and the missiles. By that time, we already have many missiles thanks to Kalam and his team. Spacecraft, to 1970s itself, we started, I think. But we didn't have a car fully designed, developed, and manufactured in the country. We didn't have a car. We are using it. But somewhere it is designed. Someone has given that. It may be ambassadors or the Fiats or the Maruti Suzuki's, what we knew at that time. None of them were native of us at that time. Car is also considered some sort of an driver of economical growth in the whole world. We may agree or disagree in the India context. There are a lot of things in the Europe is considered, if you have a car and your own doing it's indicate their economical abilities and also some sort of a symbol of patriotism too. So Ratan Tata, I didn't talk about Ratan so far. Now Ratan Tata come into picture in 1995, makes an announcement. His team was not ready in the background. Let me repeat this. Ratan does this, all this, many of those examples. Okay. He announced to the whole world with an ambition vision. We will build a car of the size of a Zen, Maruti Zen at that time, interior dimensions of an ambassador. Ambassador is considered as a big at that time as the space is concerned. Zen is considered, the size and comparatively modern at that time at the price of Maruti 800, and it will run on diesel. This all contradicting extreme parameters he is building it. Think about what is the pressure their engineering team might have been gone through at that time when they hear these things. Being in the product development for many years, I seen I don't want to work with a leader like this. It might have so many diverse needs are, but I think we know the history. Tata Indica is born. Not very good story about it. I will tell you that too. It has a serious setbacks. There was some new companies formed called Engineering Research Center. No, I think it's the Engineering Research Center of the Tata Motors pick up this challenge. And they developed the transmission system in-house themselves. For the first time, they didn't have an experience at all. Transmission system is the heart of any car, okay? They built themselves. They had an expertise in the diesel manufacturing because they're giant in the commercial vehicles. They took a help of some design house in Italy, if I'm not wrong, to design with the ambassador space and the Zen comfort. Now the design is ready. Where do you manufacture? That is, all of us know anything which is, automobile is highly capital intensive, environment. It takes lot of money without knowing will be successful or not. We are talking about one such example here. So the whole team started looking at because they also want to be economically feasible, looking at what we do, and they're looking worldwide. Luckily, in Australia, in one of the corner of Asia, one of the Japanese car plant of a Nissan was making losses. You may be wondering where I'm gone now, okay? And they talked to them and negotiated it. They got that old Nissan plant at the 1/10 of the cost of a typical capital investment needed, and they bought it. You may be thinking, what they're going to manufacture in Australia? Why they bought it? Next unfolds is much more, scary. It actually helps us. This exercise helped Tata Nano also when they moved from Calcutta to Gujarat when there was some political things happened. They bought it. They systematically dismantled the whole plant, systematically dismantled the whole plant and rebuilt in Pune in just 6 months. I will tell you, building the house itself is a very complex one. We are talking about a plant which is somewhere in Australia, getting each one of the parts and rebuilding that too in the 6 months. It is next to impossible. The people who's there in that manufacturing world, they know what is I'm talking about. With all these things, car is launched in 1998, got a lot of good response because of whatever the specs had it, a lot of bookings. Unfortunately, faced a lot of quality and engineering problems. Serious backlash from the media, as if that Ratan will be taken off from the board of Tatas, as if that India can't build any cars at all. But this is what Ratan did it. He personally led the company internally, took every feedback seriously, Talk to the engineering team, inspired them what is the ingenuity they are doing it, sealed it from the external noises, focused on how can we improve the efficiency ease. That is in 1998 they launched it. Again, the version 2 of Indica, it's called Indica version 2, launched in 2001 with the slogan, more car per car, more car per car. This version 2 is a huge success, selling around 1 lakh cars in 18 months, achieving around 46% year over year growth at that time. It went to an extent, friends, even though first one is a backlash and a disaster, BEC Wheels is considered one of the pioneer, video or a channel for the automobiles, declared this is the best car, declared is the best car in the world in the 3 to 5 lakhs category. It can have the setbacks are. Ratan Tata explained his conviction. He said, I had a conviction that all of our engineers who put rockets into the space could produce our own car. We Indians can do it. This project was a great feeling of a national achievement because everything about this car is ours. In fact, I can talk about the Nano also. There's another book written on the Nano. And today I won't touch on that. Probably in the future we'll talk about it. The Nano is an extension of this. The same Ratan Tata went and did another Pagalpan. Sorry to use the word Pagalpan in a Germany, trade, saying that I will build a car for 1 lakh rupee. Then everything is unfolded there. That's another story of itself. Probably need an hour to talk about. Any questions, comments on this now?
Just want to add, I mean, of course, I'll be biased because I work for Tatas, but notwithstanding that, I'll try to be objective. The fact of the matter about Tatas is they do it with a much bigger perspective. Like you put it somewhere, I think in one of your opening lines. Um, if it does good for the nation, it'll do good for my company, kind of thing. So very altruistic. They do it. They have demonstrated it a number of times, and every time you interact with one of those kind of people in the Tatas, it's always an inspiration to be with them because it's not about the word impossible. It's just about what can you do to make it possible. So those are just my few comments. Thank you.
So what you see in the picture now is the first car rolled out from the Pune's one. Ratan is sitting inside that with the space of an ambassador, a size of a Zen, and a price of 800. Okay. Now, another technical element, even I didn't know about this. I came to know when I read this book. It's called Ekka. Ekka, I know I'm not pronouncing correctly. This is a Sanskrit word for number one or one. India's its own supercomputer. Just to give a perspective, what is supercomputer means, we come from the IT background, we can relate to it. This is a one which can do much, much complex processing. In fact, we have our own scale of the processing power. I will introduce a little bit later. Okay, countries having a supercomputer is considered a pride. The way how many of the nuclear powers they have it, nuclear arsenal they have it, missiles they have it, satellites they have it. They also say how many supercomputer they have it. That's how the company's power is measured these days. And this is one story of India supercomputer, and coincidentally, Tata is also included in this. And you see a trend with this. The lot of things as Tata has started it as becoming Indianist activities moving forward. This is another story of it. This type of the processing power is primarily used to solve the complex problems like weather forecasting till we don't have a good algorithms to forecast the weather, nuclear testing, drug design. When you say drug, medical drug design, it's a very complex process, need lot of computation and the simulations are. Typically, supercomputers are used there. In 2007, it is fairly recent. We talked about till 1990 so far. 2007, India didn't have a powerful supercomputer. One of its first Indian supercomputers called Param. You might have heard that, Param. Not able to made to the top in the field because of its limitation in that. At that time, 2007, one of the wing of the Tatas called a TCS, coincidentally TTS is also India's largest IT consulting company even today, is headed by non-Tata president Ram Dorai, and two of the TCS employees came to him and told Ram Dorai, hey, we should build a supercomputer. Again, this is another example where there is no business plan was done. You're truly an engineer sitting in their coffee table and going and talking to the chairman of the company. You can also feel that how transparent the chairman or the leadership was there to listen to the employees, ideas are. This is another example of that. Ram Dorai loved this idea, wrote to Ratan Tata. Ratan obviously asked the detailed business plan. And Ram Dorai and his team looked into the business plan and it is shown to Tata board and they approved this plan in 2006. A new company called Computer Research Laboratories established to make this happen. Computer Research Laboratories in Pune. The goal was to build world's fastest supercomputers. Now we will introduce the unit. The unit is called petaflop. Flop is the one which is used computing engine. Okay, the way you say feet for a distance, right? For a speed, we use a time and the seconds and the things. We use it a flop. Number of the floating point operations a computer can do. That is called a flop. Okay, this is a very technical. Peta is another, degree of that. I can probably write it in a chat sometime later. Just believe in this. Petaflop is something is very huge computing power. We can't imagine. And that's how it started. Due to various and unforeseen challenges, one of the challenges that one of the key person of this team left the core team because of some differences with the Tatas at that, with Ratan Tata. Okay. So he is thinking about the heart of them is gone, but still we need to do it. So it was overseen. The challenges objective was a little bit altered to make 100 teraflop. That means around 100, yeah, 10 times lower than the capacity what they wanted to do it, with a lower investment also because it calls for a lot of hardware investment. But when they approved in 2006, they set up a goal that by October 2007, is it October? No, I think October, yeah, October 2007, we should have this product. Otherwise, product won't be there in the market. I can tell you very aggressive target. In fact, one of the team member here also takes that of aggressive targets. It is difficult for engineers. I know I come from that world. I can understand what that means. Okay. So the team was formed, raced against the time, and this is named as a acre. It's called one with various odds. October 20th, 2007, the product is ready. Hold on. We are not done yet. अभी climax बाकी है, okay? 20th October, we suppose the 31st October is that product is ready. The target was 100 teraflops, but the testing at that time clocking consistently 97 teraflop, just 3 teraflop below the goal. Okay, we are almost there, not there type of a feeling. Only 7 weeks left. 7 weeks or much less than that left to meet the deadline. This when very instant, very interesting jugaad technique happened. You may see the smile when I say this now. Okay. The engineers who's involved looking at who can help us to solve this puzzle. Whatever they tried, all their ideas is gone. They can't do anything else beyond 697. They knew some of the Russian engineers can help. And these Russian Indian engineers were there somewhere in Mexico in some other company working for them. And say they discuss with them, that company is also approved it. But everyone, when they get involved, they say, what is in me, right? मैं क्यों करना हूँ? I know Russia and India has a dosti, but still, why this? They will give help for it. This is what the jugaad happened. This definitely at least put a smile on my face. I believe Russians are like Kingfisher, Kingfisher beer a lot. I don't know where this engineer got this data. He did offer those engineers, guys, if you can help this, I will send a crate of a Kingfisher beer to you. You believe it or not, it is work. And this is documented in this. And the help. And October 31st, 2007, unfortunately, October's will have only 31st, not more. It is a hard deadline set by Ratan and his team. At 8:30 in the night, just 3.5 hours technically behind the target date, with a clock 118 teraflops. I think Ram can relate our first product, what we built. What's gone through it. On that.
I agree.
That's our own story. Both of us can resonate with that later. Let me. At 31st, 8:30 p.m., 118 teraflop is crossed. 100 was a target. And this particular data is present to the worldwide consortium of the supercomputers at that time. They assessed all the data. The target was that they want to be in the top 10 supercomputers in the world. Most of them was there in the UK, Russia, and I think even not Russia was not there. UK, US, and one of the Japanese company, if I'm not wrong. Target was to become the one in the 10. When they published the report on the 6th November 2007, ICTA ranked 4th in the world in their first attempt. In their first attempt. The rest is in history. And ICA immediately, ISRO become their first customer. And weather prediction is another one. Moon launching vehicle, Chandrayaan related simulation has done on that. I believe Indian first animated 3D film is also, developed using that. And after that, many supercomputers has built by the Indian government agencies too. But this is a trigger of that. This is one more story of the innovation and engineers can do in India. I know I've taken 6 minutes extra, but I need another 5 minutes because I wanted to put that icing on the cake, which Tatas is known for. Without this, I feel it won't end appropriately, but I need your permission for another 5 minutes. Can I go ahead, guys? The title is A Legend with a Heart of Gold. This is a personal experience of the author, Harish. In 1993, he was working as a deputy manager in the Tata Tea in Bangalore in his sales operations. One day, suddenly he received a call from director office. Tata Tea has a headquarters in Calcutta. Darbari Seth, please note Darbari Seth, he is another non-Tata's chairman of that, a legendary chairman of the company, wished to meet him. And he wanted to meet a deputy manager. Think about, a chairman is talking to a deputy manager, okay? And during his visit to tea plantation in the Munnar is in the Kerala. From Bangalore, it is a overnight journey. And Harish didn't know what it is. I thought he'll get an opportunity to meet Darbari Seth. So visited there. Let me give you a little bit of the background of the Darbari Seth in 1993. He was 73 years old already at that time. He was already a towering figure in the world. He built the Tata Chemicals. We talked about the salt a lot last time. He's the one who's actually chaired the Tata Salt product. That means the company he built it. He acquired the Tata Tea from a Swiss company earlier. He also influenced Tata and the Tetley tie up a little bit later too. And also he was a chairman of Tata Coffee and something called a Rallies India. So he's a well-known figure in Tata's world. And he's the one who wanted to meet Hari, is the author of the book. So Hari went to Munnar, met in the director's bungalow. Darbari said offered him a coffee or chai, I should say the tea because so he's a tea chairman, it's chai, and also offered him a role of an executive assistant of Darbari Seth itself. Somewhere, someone sitting in the satellite office of the Tata Sea as a deputy manager, getting an offer to become executive assistant of a chairman. It's a pride moment for Harish. Without blinking eyes, he's agreed for it. A lot of many fascinating stories emerged during the period, which is also captured in. I'm not touching it. I've been touching the one last one here. And he worked with him for 2.5 years in that role. He came back to his parent company in 1995 in a marketing role in the Tata Tea in Bangalore. Coincidentally, in his personal life, in May 1995, he was blessed with a daughter, the biggest achievement for him. I'm talking about Harish Bhat, he's the author of this. He wanted to share the happy news to the world, including his then boss, and he sent a message to him. Even though Darbari Seth is so busy, he warmly congratulated him. It's very rare we see in the corporate world. Okay, and talking about a chairman of multiple companies, think about how many employees may be with him. And it feels a warm gesture of a person. दोस्तों स्टोरी अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुई. Few months later, Harish receives a call from one of the office person from the Tata Coffees. He says that is in the morning, I think around 10 o'clock. Darbari Seth would like to visit your house today afternoon at 3 p.m. to see your daughter. Will you be available? This is the question asked to him. Being the Bangalore, where his office is, he's in the other side of the city. We understand what is that means to us. Okay, it is very difficult to explain in words. He suddenly took by a surprise, rushed home somehow, wanted to welcome him in his small abode. True to his word, Darbari Seth arrived exactly at 3 p.m., friends, 3 p.m. Lot of VIPs will make us to wait. After driving 5 hours drive from Coorg, where there was a coffee plantation where he was visiting it, all through traveling the challenging traffic of a Bangalore. I didn't want to use that word traffic, but still, that is what his statement. He was 75 years old at that time. Despite his stature and schedule, he came with a couple of senior Tata coffee executives too. Entered Harish modest home, greeted his family warmly. The infant in his arms kissed her, blessed her personally. He spent half an hour in their small house, leading them, deeply touched. In fact, Harish says the photo, what is there on the screen, friends, is a golden moment in his life. Darbari said, taken picture in his family with his daughter and himself. I just put two things before closing it. In his own Harish words, he's an author of this. I was truly moved that evening. At the age of 75 years, after such a long journey, he still made an effort to come and meet personally, all to show his care and affection for the people who work with him. This is a remarkable gesture and a glowing example of employee care and humility. Friends, I would like to end this review with this thought. The values laid down by Jamshedji Tata in that Nagpur mills and the employee friendly measures almost a century ago continue to flow through the subsequent generation of the Tata leaders, not only Tatas from their DNA, but their second and the third level leaders too, for the employee care. Today, till today, Tata is known for their employee care and nationalism. This instance, what I just quoted, is a true testimony of their culture. Thank you very much.